Representing the community. Congratulations on your, oh, thank you so much.
You know, it's forgot. We need a speech.
Oh, yeah.
Who's doing minutes time here? You? I'm sorry, you doing the minutes?
Yeah. I just seen him walking up. Was he running away?
I think he's coming.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start the meeting for July 3rd, 2024. Call to order, please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, first order of business is public. Please, stand and speak in your name.
Thank you. Dick Dyson. I've been under a little bit of health issues the last few months, and I'd like to publicly thank the village crew. However, I get to find last names of TJ Garland, Mike Metzger, and John Shafts, and John Stevenson also, pretending to the fountain, took out the couple of dead trees, the last tree, cleaned out the spots with the roots, and planted the new bushes, and they've been tending to it. I don't know if it's running right now, because there's a motor problem. I don't know. Is it running?
No, it's
No, it's not. Right. We're working on that. But I want to publicly thank them. But I think they get passed over too much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Pitt.
I hate to reiterate it, but that light is still not on the flagpole out there. And the boat launch is washing away slowly and.
Yeah, the DEC was down there and it's Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
DPW is
Coming out to
scheduled to meet with them and take some action.
Done.
Yep.
Okay, yes. As far as that, and it was probably delayed by the ramp construction work. I assume. I know that's on the agenda. Which,
I'm sorry, excuse me, which light?
Light on the flagpole, light
Going up to the one,
Well, I don't care what one it is, it needs someone going on that flag,
is the bottom one down good?
because there's none on this flag. So when you're thinking of the veterans, you're thinking of the veterans, yeah. No, the one,
That the veterans works.
as far as I know, this one out here doesn't,
Okay.
there isn't one out here, actually.
Okay.
oh, well, briefly.
Yeah.
Which incident? Why don't you just take that flag down? There's literally a flag across the street with a light on, and that's appropriately
Is that?
I think that's the post office
Yeah.
flag.
The federal building. Yeah, there. Okay, next order of business, treasurer's report.
We have very little this month. The software gap installation update. Last month, was reported to the board that CHS accounting will have to wait for Edmonds, that's our IT folks, to work to be completed before finishing our AFR for fiscal year 2023. And beginning monthly reconciliations for the fiscal year 23-24, which we just finished. The update to that, so we had a meeting with Edmonds and CHS, and we were able to clear up a few numbers for Edmonds. And his plans to finish addressing the installation gaps this month, and I think we have a very good shot at that happening. So hopefully in a couple of weeks, the next update will be that we're starting to make some AFR and monthly updates.
Are there impacts of the fact that we haven't been able to produce our yearly report for last year yet?
You know, you would think that, but every year there's a list of people who haven't even passed their budgets. And there's a list of villages that haven't filed their AFRs or AUGs, so now call it AFRs and I'll call it in a couple of years, so.
No, they know the situation.
Yeah,
And
you've been
and
apart from them throughout,
And that's,
getting their candidates.
yeah, we actually have a good reason.
You want to do the abstract now? Shall we do the abstract now?
Yeah, why not? Wanna do it?
Right.
Yeah, go back to the page. The treasurer has provided the June abstract for approval, which includes May prepaid and June claims. Total for the June abstract is $80,387.08. And what it means is we have the A fund. Oh,
Okay.
okay, A
I sent out
fund.
an update this morning, correct?
Just what I said.
The
Anyway,
numbers are different.
all the numbers are different. Okay. The A fund is, will be $59,958.74 for this abstract. The F fund will be $19,788.87. And the G fund sewer will be $482.55. I'm sorry if I didn't clarify, the A fund is general, the F fund is water, and the G funds. So I'll make a motion, we approve that.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
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 Okay. All righty, under new business, with the very happy and pleasant job of appointing Mr. Scott Whitney as the historian. Thank you. And motion to do so?
Seven.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Discussion? I can think of no one better suited to this than,
And we can finally get some gray hair to stay on that one.
Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Couldn't happen to the guy. Yeah, I'd like to definitely be honored.
yeah, I caught him at a weak moment and then it got taped and it reported in, so he couldn't back out.
Yes. He text messaged me. I know you're bored. Okay. Accepted.
So.
Yes.
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 Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to keep the speech.
You can keep-
I was born in.
Next is amending a couple of local laws. One of chapter 125 littering with the addition of to the prohibited acts is poison ivy is to be placed in plastic garbage bags and sealed. It is not to be included in the yard debris waste collected by the DPW. And the second one is amending chapter 99 open burning. To add to the list of prohibited items, burning of poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. And unless I'm mistaken, we set a public hearing time for that.
Yes.
And I will move to set a public hearing July 17th at 6:30 for a public hearing on amending chapter 125 littering, 1 prohibited acts, and chapter 29 open burning, 99-2 prohibited materials.
Second.
Discussion?
The open burning thing doesn't adjust anything else in that particular section. I mean, it doesn't change it.
Burning of garbage, burning of refuse, burning of rubbish generated by residential, commercial, or
It just
industrial.
adds a few more items.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Burning poison ivy.
Yeah.
All right, we put in there?
No. Yes.
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 Okay. All right, next, turn this over to Tom and Tom for the proposed changes to RV1.
I'll do this short because I think we can set a public hearing on this if we want, I guess. I don't know if, you know, how much of a role Matt wants to get in on this before the public hearing, but it would be okay, I guess, if you wanted to table until the 17th, but
Well, is there, and we can discuss it now.
we can discuss it, yeah. What happened was, given the history in the village of development, about, I think it was 2 years ago, 22, we put a little committee together. It was a committee to take a look at the RV1 zoning. The RV1 is not the core of the village. The RV1 is out north of Goldfoot, behind the firehouse, all that stuff up there, down Washington Avenue. There's a map, if anybody has a copy of this, or there's a map that shows you where, there's quite a bit of RV1 property. It's not developed. Some of it's developed, been developed. Griffin's Ridge was RV2. No, Griffin's Ridge was RV1. The Victorian Landings was RV1. And I think there was a sense among a lot of people that did we really want to see this kind of development kind of continue on the remaining large parcels of property that we have here in the village? And the committee kind of felt that they wanted to see it tightened to make it so we don't have an opportunity for somebody to build a strip of apartments or townhouses or duplexes. And what do we want to do with the rest of our property? Without restricting the rights of people to develop that property. So what we came up with was a tighter RV1 proposal. And really the essence of it is, we took out everything, but we put single family residence. So if anybody's going to develop anything on any of these big parcels, they've got to develop single family residences. So you wouldn't see anything like Victorian Landings, for example, or Griffin's Ridge anymore, because there's our code also has changed to require clustering. And that's a very unique form of building where the houses are built around, facing a public space. The roads go behind the houses, the garages are behind. It changes the nature. You can't have more than between 4 and 12 houses in a cluster, or 4 and 10 in a cluster. I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember either, but anyway, you couldn't build 60 houses. If you had the opportunity to build 60, they have to be clustered in groups of 4 to 10. And it's a much more agreeable look. And so we just thought about this, and after the committee kind of fell apart, disbanded. So we had some issues with people with health issues and whatnot. Then we had formed another little committee of Gary Mead, Tom Peterson, Dan Shapiro, Peter Sheridan. And we fine-tuned what the RV1 committee was doing. And so the proposed changes are in here. If you want to take a look at them, you could certainly get a copy from Gary, and I know it's online. And what we did was we pretty much changed the residential component to for single family suggested changes. For single family dwellings, agricultural, accessory in the sense that you can have a little pond or tool house or storage, you know, like anybody else. You can have daycare facilities, professional offices, like if you were running a accounting firm out of your home. You'd have to have a special use permit for that. But as long as you had the parking and it wasn't a, you know, major big thing, you'd have to go to get a special permit. You could do the regular stuff like agricultural. One of the things we stalled on was churches. Because we had a couple of big parcels and we thought about churches, and nobody objects to churches. But what happens if somebody wanted to build a church like that in exit 10? Is that appropriate for this community? So churches would be permitted.
They would be permitted, you cannot blanketly exclude churches from a residential zone. But we can make them subject to a special use permit. So we have an opportunity to take a look at the proposal, and if it is materially inappropriate, then it can be denied. But the balance between the right to establish a church in a residential neighborhood and the appropriateness standard weighs heavily in favor of churches.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that instead of removing churches as we've done, that we make it a permitted, special permitted use.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what we would do with the churches. And I don't know, I mean, you know, it's not that big of a thing, the RB1 residential zoning law in the village is not, you know, it's not 5-10 pages, it's about 2. And we're gonna try to protect the wetlands more, we've tightened that up, all vegetation, and including trees can't be cut, or otherwise disturbed in a federally identified, state identified, or any other identified wetlands in the RB1 zone. So you can't, you know, you can't do any of that. So we didn't have that in the current law. I'm trying to see what else you guys would use. Clubs and lodges. You know, I think we took out did we take out the gun clubs? Tom, did we take out the gun clubs and the and boating clubs and whatnot? Oh, special permitted uses. Page.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
They're still here.
They're still there, but they had to get a special permit.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, my question is, right now, it's the zoning board of appeals that grants special use permits.
Mhm.
I'm wondering whether the expertise of the planning board is more appropriate.
So kind of shifting directions here, so you'd want to take a special use permit power out of the DBA and put it in the planning board? For everything?
I offer that up for consideration.
We ought to take a look at that, Gary.
Yeah.
What else would the zoning board of appeals do?
For example, the GBA was the one that granted special use permits for short-term rentals.
Right. But if you're saying you take that out, special use permits from the ZBA, that's all special use permits, or just specific to,
You can pick and choose.
Okay.
Which board you want to go for. I don't want to derail the discussion.
No, no, no,
I
no.
do want to make the seed, I think it's
Yeah.
something that this board should think about, which is it the CPA or planning board that's, better skilled to deal with the issues
Mhm.
involving, these items that we're saying, require inspection.
I think you have to take a look at that. It's almost like an ancillary issue to the changes in the RV1, but, whatever, yeah. You think,
Oh, better time to take.
what better time to do it now?
And I don't think that has to be resolved in order to move forward with what you're proposing.
So I guess, I skimmed over this, but I think you get the idea that, we're surrounded now by development. It's gonna get a lot worse. Especially to the north of us, we know that, immediate north of us. And it's probably the next thing to fall will be Wood Road, I would guess. And between that and Route 9, you put the park in. So what do you want the village to look like? Do you want it to look like those kinds of things, or do you want it to tighten it up? I'm not saying we make it unfair, but developers can do plenty. They have plenty of ways and means, and if a guy wants to buy 10 acres, fine. But, I don't want to see, rows of apartments. We had a proposal up, for example, of the parcel that we're buying up on, Route 9 and the bypass, our side. Where the guy came in twice, one guy wanted to put like 180 or 150 single bedroom apartments. Up
See,
there.
this is like a nursing.
Yeah,
home.
yeah, and then we had the infamous nursing home issue at the end of New York Avenue a few years ago. And I don't want to see that kind of development in the village. But, if we put it out for a public hearing and we finalize a draft. And see what
You
the
take my
public,
rights away?
what's that?
You're taking my rights away?
No,
You're not?
no, how would I be taking your rights away? You can still develop it.
Hang on. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You tell me how I can develop my property.
Okay, now's not the time for,
We can discuss it at the end of the meeting when the public,
and we're not making any decisions tonight.
yeah, not me.
Yeah, but you notify me when you're gonna make a decision?
Everybody should have gotten everything that we're talking about in an email. If you did not get one, let me know. I'm gonna make sure that you're on my email list.
Ah.
Yeah, I'll need you can put your email address on the.
You have it.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but they sent everything out Sunday evening, I think. So if you want to double check, make sure, put your email address on the sign-in sheet.
Yep.
No, have you never gotten any of my emails?
Yeah, that's why I found about this meeting today,
Well, that's what I'm saying,
but I didn't get that.
you got the attachment, it was.
No, I didn't get it.
Alright.
However, I didn't.
So I don't know where you want to go from here. I don't know if we don't have everybody, but let's say you two guys said, no, I don't like this.
Well, first, I think we have to clarify whether, and talk with the zoning board about. And the planning board about getting a special use permit authority under certain conditions through the planning board, what conditions those would be. And, I know that's kind of a separate issue, and that could affect. Certainly.
It certainly could affect it, but do we want to go ahead and come up with a final draft? That we could then schedule a public hearing on, or?
Tonight, or.
No, not tonight. Oh, yeah, but you know what, some of us could get together and just make sure all the Ts are crossed and the Is dotted.
I think that's what we did with this draft.
Yeah, but there's a lot of notes and stuff.
Okay. But they do not. Those were other notes that we made,
Yeah.
things that needed to be addressed, but not necessarily in connection with the RV one zone.
Okay, do you wanna put an official, RV1 thing together, draft together?
We have,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think if you gave this to the public,
I think it's a question of setting it down for a public hearing.
okay. Right.
We ready to do that?
I think we are.
How can that be easier?
All right.
Um,
And I'll modify the draft to provide that churches are a special permitted use.
all right, so I will move to have a public hearing on amending RV1 residential conditions. July 17th at 6:40.
And we'll send out, the documents again and maybe leave some of the paper documents here for people to take. When we get the, actual document. Fine, so we're gonna vote on.
Pretty good.
And then people have objections. I don't know how Eric feels. I don't know how Jason feels. I don't know how Matt feels. No. You guys,
I think it's worth discussion.
yeah.
I think I have a public hearing.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just because we say this doesn't mean it's gonna happen. But
And the last thing under business is what I call the on the horizon. The Clifton Park, last fall, I think I got some panic now from some residents on Hurley saying, you know, what's going on across the street. There's there might be a soccer field there. Soccer field and seasonal. It's in Clifton Park, so. I didn't think too much about it until, Clifton Park passed a zoning division for there that allows indoor or outdoor, playing fields, sports, blah, blah, blah. And other similar uses that may require piping, ceilings, or large open space. So once I saw that, I got to thinking, well, that'll be an indoor, potential for an indoor facility like a sports place. And I spent 2 to 3 times a week, all year round, except summers, at the sportsplex in Clifton Park. So I consider myself an expert on traffic around sportsplexes. Every hour there's about 100-car turnover from probably, I don't know about the daytime, but certainly starting around 4 p.m. up till about 11 p.m. Every hour you've got 100 or so cars. My concern was most cars, half of them probably will be coming down Washington Ave to get to the sportsplex, if there is one. So I sent a letter, I shared with you guys, to the zoning board of Clifton Park. As far as I can tell, it was ignored. So, and they passed that. So I'm paying very close attention to any change, anything that goes on down there with the zoning or planning. There have been no presentations to the planning board yet. So, but we're all definitely on top of it. We talked to the zoning or the planning director and they're done. And he's going to make sure that we know, plus I've signed up for the notifications for planning and zoning boards. Paulson and Clifton Park. So I'll stay on top of what's going on and keep you apprised of that. As long as Here, you had a traffic update or animal update.
I've had one animal control call this month. I don't deal with big snakes sitting on somebody's porch.
Oh, the snake. Whatever happened? I every time I
It's
go by,
weird. I haven't seen it
I haven't
since.
seen it either. I have a couple times a day.
It's not a poisonous snake, but
Big.
it's a larva. And I've issued 7 tickets in the last, since I was here last, 2 of them in the village of Washington Avenue. And the restaurant,
How about the rabbit raccoon?
yeah, we had one animal fall and next door to Jim's house there, there was a rabbit raccoon. And many people kept bothering it, so it got up and moved before NCON and the state.
Oh, we
police
should have the income.
says,
Okay, and Chief, you have a report?
I do, sorry, folks. So June, we had 51 calls, 268 for the year, so we're still down about 10 to 12% from 23. So I'll attribute that to fire prevention. Saving, of course. We had 4 members complete firefighter 1, so for those that don't know, New York State firefighter 1 class is now 160 hours. So, quite a large commitment for them folks. And also part of that is that New York State has passed a stipend program. So those individuals actually completing those classes are getting paid from New York State to take those classes. So for them, it was they got a check, recently just got a check for $2,000 for them to take that class. So that was kind of nice for the state to do that. Obviously we had a booth down for the Antiques Festival on Saturday, but I guess Saturday was kind of rainy. I was at camp and actually came home because it was raining there too. We did parking, which I think went fairly well considering the weather. We had a couple of parades and we have a couple coming up. So other than that, community events, we're going to be up in Malta, community in Malta for kids and a couple of different events here in the next couple of weeks. And 4th of July stuff that obviously we have a couple of parades that we're participating as well. So other than that, fairly quiet month.
Okay, Chief? Approval of minutes.
Who's doing the minutes for this? Pardon? Who's doing the minutes for this?
Well, I'm recording it 3 different ways, so.
I'm testing my AI.
Can we do these all together?
No, because there are various people.
Oh, that's right.
So the June 5th meeting is. So motion to, see, Matt was absent. I will move to accept the minutes of the June 5th meeting.
We gotta do it.
Discussion?
You in Boston?
No, that was the one after.
Oh,
Well, it was June 5th.
I was on.
Discussion.
no. Did anybody second it? Did anybody, move it?
I did, but I can't.
Okay, so it's up to Jason. Okay, I.
Okay, second.
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Yeah. And the May 15th meeting, Jason was absent. Move to accept.
Move to accept, accept.
Second, discussion?
Yes.
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 And the May 1st meeting. After absent. Motion to accept the May 1st minutes.
So.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The April 17th meeting, Matt is absent, okay. I move to accept the April 17th minutes,
Second.
seconds.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Susan had a couple of items on the clerk's report. Reminder to Dr. Kilmer about road and bike safety in the village. And also unlicensed kids are not permitted to drive golf carts and village in the village. Baseball field is being used for agility training mornings in July and August. And that last week we responding to the field were in great shape for their training. Thank you DPW for all the mowing and keeping things in good shape. Sad story about a family of geese being killed on Route 9. An adolescent goose was found with a wing and tail injury. After a bit of searching, we were able to find a rescue center up the tree. DPW and Mike Metzger, thank you for looking after the goose, working with wildlife rescue and getting the goose into the animal clinic. Word is that injuries are treatable and looks like the goose will make a full recovery. Thank you, Mike, for all your time. And village attorney. Any words of wisdom? Huh? Any words of wisdom? Exactly.
Then no. Oh, I will say you passed out the stage one environmental property we're buying up at the order to bypass in Route 9. Went through with flying colors and we are ready to close.
Stabilizing more than any.
Does that mean we don't have to do anything else? It's just you and the other attorney?
Right.
Okay,
And eventually Eric.
and Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
George Mayor, I told nothing, but please.
Okay. Speed bumps. Or some, but they don't.
We had come in, meeting with, Johnny on Friday.
Cell phone contract, did that finally go through with the Senate? Yeah. If they had to get the approval from the Senate and you have this. Sign the updated,
I have not received an update on that in a while.
yeah.
Now, last time we went through this 15 years ago, it turned out the legislation passed and nobody let us know. We didn't find out until this year. So I'll make this recent.
Okay. There was a discussion some time ago about discussing street signs in the village, in the historic village. I don't know if we're gonna come back to that or not. And actually, one of the more important ones, the tower drawings for the bell tower, were supposed to be approved and sent to us, so we could look at them, so we know what they're building. And I haven't seen any. And they were supposed to put it out in September, it's July, we need to approve it, they need to build it, so time is needed. Have we seen
I have not.
it? Okay, that one, just based on schedule concerns.
Yes.
I believe. All right, I think Peter said they agreed they were gonna do that, and I even believe, I thought Peter said that they done what we haven't seen.
I thought we put that as part of the contingency that, you know, for them to do the work. We had to review the drawings, approve the drawings before they can do the work.
Yes.
All right, I'll shoot Peter, text and. Status.
Actually related to the cell phone, the tower. We were contacted by a separate company. Have we ever heard anything back from them?
We have, I showed them the contract that was semi-finalized, it hasn't been accepted by the board yet. And they said, no, we need more information. We need to know how many co-locators there are, what they pay per month and so forth.
I just want to know if there was anything moving there.
I'll have to now catch a view about that.
Sure.
If we have that information.
Okay, that's all. I don't mean anything. Real thing sticking on there. Patch.
Everybody on.
Tenants. I don't know if we had it listed as shut.
No.
Yeah, I think there's a co-location for us, they can just get it shut.
All right, before we go into the session, public comment. Yeah.
What did Brown Lake do to help me with that property on Wood Road? I tried to put houses there, okay?
Hold on. Which property are you talking? One
The
in Clifton
property
Park?
that the field is going to be,
That's in Clifton Park, we can't do.
you can't,
It's Clifton
it's
Park.
it's bordered. I asked for help to try so I could put homes out there.
Clifton Park, so we can't do anything. Not Round Lake, we're talking about the same parcel.
Right.
Right at the curve,
Pardon?
Where
right at
Wood,
the curve.
where Wood Road.
Wood Road and the curves on the pillow.
Right.
That big field,
Right,
yeah,
I wanted to put homes there.
That's Clifton Park.
it's in another town.
We have no.
But it worries you now because of traffic?
No, what worries us now, I mean, two houses there isn't gonna worry anybody about traffic. What worries us is the possibility of a sports field that turns into an indoor sports facility, year-round sports facility. Now,
But how do you know that's going to happen?
oh, I don't, but I get,
What you're
I
going
get,
to,
I get paid big bucks to worry about things like this.
you do, huh?
Yes.
And how are you gonna worry about that? What's your plan?
Plan is, and there's make our concerns known to the Clifton Park zoning board, make sure that they do traffic analysis. I mean, doing what we can in Round Lake. I mean, there's been talk of dead ending Washington Ave,
Yeah, I heard that.
so that's one certainly an extreme possibility. I mean, if there was a,
Like they can't get into that field from High Road?
no, that's fine, that's what we want them to do, if it comes up, we don't want traffic going through the village, through Washington Ave. Couple
But
hundred
that's
cars.
where they would go.
That's my point. They would go down Washington Ave, if you're coming from Ballston Lake. They would cut through to Washington Ave. I know, because the people who go to my gym, which is right across the road.
Well, the
from
people
that,
that go
cut
to
through
the
Washington.
storage units or whatever they are down there, cut through. Right?
Cut through where?
The warehouses on Wood Road.
Yeah.
Did they cut through the village?
I have no idea.
I have a storage unit down there and we always come in through 9, come through the building, we don't live here because.
Then why do you have speed bumps on Washington Avenue?
The slow cars then.
What cars? The people that live there?
People come on the northway or west of the village, they'll pass through the stop sign without stopping, they'll cut right in the morning. They'll go down Wood Road,
Who's
they'll go
doing
down
it?
Washington Avenue,
Who's doing it?
people come out of the village and from west.
It's a very common occurrence on Goldfoot Road, people cutting through Goldfoot, coming up, turning and then going up to the northway, because they don't want to go through the core of the village. And also going down Washington Ave, coming down the hill, going through Washington Ave to get to Route 9. I have years of data on speed and volume data on Washington Ave. I mean, it's not great now, but it would be much worse if there were a sports facility.
What would you suggest for that property?
I would suggest nothing because it's none of my business if it doesn't.
Well, it seems to be your business to say what you have to do because of it.
It is my business. If you want to put homes there, put homes there. I mean, that's none of
I
their
couldn't
business.
get water.
Again, that's Clifton Park.
They wouldn't give me water.
But that's Clifton Park, one of the little village.
No. The water authority wouldn't give me water.
But that's still not the village Round Lake.
We don't have any authority over the Clifton Park Water Authority, we don't have any authority over the town of Clifton Park. And that parcel you're talking about is in Clifton Park.
Right.
And if they're denying you anything, we can't override that or force them to.
I thought because it bordered on Round Lake, that you would take an interest.
We take an interest.
But we can't force them to do anything.
We're not, but you didn't take an interest.
What did you want us to do?
Talk to them
About what?
about how close it is to Round Lake, how it borders your village,
There,
and how concerned you are about your
I
village.
am, I sent a letter to them. To
And
the-
what did they say?
Nothing, they didn't respond. Well, no, I couldn't say they didn't respond, they said that there have been no proposals, no official proposals. There was no response to the letter I sent. But we have had communication with the planning director on there, and it said, so far, there's been no proposal for no official proposal for anything presented to the planning board or village board. Or town.
Mhm. That's number one. Number two is my property. How many large properties are there in the village of Round Lake?
Which property are you talking about?
My Hurlow High Road property, my 41 acres.
Berlin High Road.
Oh, that's, up, past,
It's the wood that is
it's
between,
the woods
Yeah.
from Jason's up,
Mhm.
on either side.
Both
Yeah.
sides. Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't speak to your particular.
I'm just asking you, how many properties, large properties, are in the village of Round Lake?
Okay, so we got yours, we got, the end of New York Avenue, 30 acres, 33 acres. We've got, Fred Severs, about 23,
Sounds about right.
that sounds about right. Fred Severs, about 23. Kevin Cron's got about 8, 10, something like that.
Nelson has, I think, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I have 4, but it's not for sale in any way.
So yeah, so there's
I'm the
probably
largest parcel, let's say that.
the largest parcel. If one, I haven't looked at the tax map, but I have no idea.
What's the question?
Yeah, what's the question?
What point are you trying to make?
What point am I trying to make? Why are you singling out us landowners? Now you want to make the village what it is right now, with no growth anywhere.
We had 30% growth since 2010 in population. We went from 628 to 823. So that's quite enough growth. Thank you very much.
It's because on top of the hill,
No, it's
because
still-
Victorian
I
landing.
understand that, but it's still a lot of growth.
Well, I mean, if you had a specific question about what are you doing to landowners, we can address that.
Yes,
And we can address that and whatever suggested changes.
how can an open hearing with people from the village against a few few people have some property? Acreage.
I'm having a little trouble understanding.
Yeah,
what
I am
exactly your objection
An
is.
open hearing is what?
No, your objection to what was discussed.
You're making new rules for my property.
There are current rules for your property.
Pardon?
There are current rules for your property.
Absolutely. Why are you making more?
How do you know more? Maybe they're just different.
Because you wouldn't be trying to pass them if they weren't new.
They could just be different. They could just change the way things are organized rather than modifying exactly. what you do. For instance, and I don't, we're gonna have to have the open hearing about this, and I highly encourage you to carefully read the document before you object. Because you
I can reject you anything, anytime I want, and I don't have to read anything.
that's why.
I can reject
And
anything
that's why
I want.
Jesse,
Who the hell do you think you're talking to?
I actually don't know who you are, because you never announced who you were.
I don't have to announce. People know me. I've been here for 50 some odd years.
That's.
All right, we're getting a little off track.
Yep, getting a
folks.
little-
again, I would suggest to make an informed comments. Read the proposed changes, the only possible thing you could see that would affect any large landowners is requiring, single units instead of townhouses. That's the only possibility, but I would leave it to you, read, I'll make sure that I get you a copy. Read it, see if there's anything that affects you, makes you unhappy. Then you can either email me, mayor@village.org, or at the public hearing. You are certainly free to, have your, make your comments known.
Another thing, Carlos, that I encourage you to do on your 41 acres is see how much of those 41 acres are developed. In other words, you could ask Peter, and he could show you the map.
I've got a map.
Great.
I've got a map. I know the wetland.
Okay,
I know that.
so your 41 acres may really be 32.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know that. I have the map.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Finkel.
Why are there 4 meetings of minutes not done?
Well,
This
major
we go
reason,
back and help
major
fix
reason,
things.
major reason is because we didn't have a meeting on Juneteenth. We skipped the meeting.
Yeah, but there's still 4 meetings before that. Malta has their minutes up the next day as a draft. By the time 4 meetings go by, who remembers what got said or done or anything? I think it's kind of, it's not that big of a job that.
We have, it's not a small.
It is a big job. And I have to defend Gary and Eric and Sue. We have a meeting here that leaves, we break up around 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night or whenever we break up. And you want the meeting, I understand.
I'm not saying that I want anything, I'm just saying, in Malta, they're the next day, they're up as a draft.
It's a whole different world.
Why?
We got one clerk there that has a door where everybody, 50 people a day probably come in that door to chit chat. Or to ask questions, or to pay the taxes.
Especially in June when paying.
Yeah, and how do you
Slow.
expect one clerk to
Well,
sit there?
maybe she should work some more hours and not have people come in. I don't know.
And then we'll send a bill to you.
Jim, we make the videos of the meeting available, so. if
Yeah,
somebody
you can
has a
see.
pressing need to know something, the next day or a couple days after they can.
Even the fact that, okay, the next day is too much, the next week. Not 4 meetings later, it's 3 months ago.
But again, any pressing urgent things, you can find the video and see what happened.
Okay. In your other notes, says our subdivision law shall be amended to provide sidewalks leading from any new major subdivision to our existing sidewalk network. Where's that?
That was simply a suggestion,
Okay, but I'm just saying, we don't really have a sidewalk network, because we don't have sidewalks here,
and I wrote,
except in front of the post office.
and I wrote down,
And Victorian land,
so that it would not get.
And where?
Victorian land.
Well, right,
I don't understand what's so hard about this. When Victorian Landings was built, we required them to run a sidewalk from Victorian Landing down to the corner of Washington Avenue and Curve. We required that.
I get it, but why doesn't it end there? Why doesn't it go around the corner and go into the building?
Well, let's get an engineer to tell you how many millions of dollars it would cost you to put sidewalks all around the building.
It wouldn't be millions of dollars.
Or
It would be a fair.
it would be a fair.
Why doesn't the PPW do it?
Sidewalk.
The PPW can do 50 feet a month.
Okay,
That's it.
I just don't, that's their job.
point taken.
I mean, form it up, pour it, it's not that big of a deal. And it ends there, it looks terrible, I think. It comes down, the sidewalk comes down the hill, ends the bike path, you walk off, I get stuck there, trying to drive across. You know?
And why would you object then to requiring the sidewalks?
I'm not rejecting, I'm not objecting to requiring, I'm just saying we don't have a sidewalk.
Okay.
I would love to see sidewalks all around the village, it would make my life a lot easier.
I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
Somebody ran over the sign in the middle of the crosswalk.
Yeah.
And it makes my job sometimes a little tougher. Cars and. I'll mention anything back on.
And they got that good.
Shouldn't there be one of those,
Yeah, they-
shouldn't there be one of those at Burroughs,
Looks like the car did it.
for the sidewalk, when we cross, there's a sidewalk.
There's something about the law that a crosswalk has to connect sidewalks.
I saw there's not.
There's a painted crosswalk there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
I would think that you would have to have a yield pedestrian.
but the stop sign thing.
There's stop signs there too.
No, no, no.
Oh,
You're talking about the crosswalk.
Yeah, right, but there's a painted crosswalk.
Right, you're right.
You would,
No, I thought about putting a sign there as well, to slow cars down and let people know.
See, this is for the trail though, this.
Yeah, trail, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different than.
All right, so on my agenda for Friday when we meet again. All right, anything else? And I move to enter executive.
I'm lost in the initial, item is that you're gonna have a meeting with it's zoning, the board or planning with the, development of properties.
That's a separate. That's separate. If we're gonna set this public hearing, it is not on that.
Okay.
Okay, it's changes to the RV1 zone. That whole other issue would have to be, we'd have to go through, talk to the planning board, talk to the ZBA, figure out what, who wants to do what.
Okay, so I will make a motion to enter executive session.
I'll make that motion.
The employment history of a certain person and, I lost my card.
Possible, sale or purchase of real property.
Possible sale or purchase of real property. May I have a second? Somebody,
Yes.
Jason seconded. Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, okay.
No.
You're gonna let me know when we're gonna have a meeting with the truck.
You gotta speak up, huh?
You're gonna let me know when we're gonna have a meeting, you and I, over that truck.
Meeting about what?
The trial.
Okay.
Okay.